So yes, at the end of every year I do a few videos which get me really excited. I get to do my predictions on the next year, the following year, 2020. Wow. I just realised that. I get to do my predictions on what's coming up in 2020, or what I'd like to get in 2020. I get to show you every single record I bought in 2019 that was released in 2019. And my very favourite one, which I'm going to film for you right now, is my least to best albums of 2019. So, hello and yes, welcome back to another video, guys. Now, that's right, it's that time of year where I do my annual videos, where as I said at the start of the video, I'm going to show you every single record I bought that was released in 2019, so that's live albums, compilations, studio albums, blah, 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 blah. I'll have that video coming up soon, and then straight after that, I'll have my predictions for next year, 2020, or what I'd like to see. But for right now, we're going to do my very favourite video of the bunch. So studio albums are my favourite things to get. New material from an artist is always the most exciting thing for me. I get much more excited over that than a live album, compilation or reissue. It's just more exciting to hear fresh new things, I think. And today I've bought 16 albums, which is quite good. Last year I only got 7. So it's a big upgrade. I got 9 more albums this year, which is very cool. In 2017, I got 20, so I didn't quite get up to there. There was a 17th album that I wanted this year by a guy called Sam Fender, but I never got around to picking it up, so I haven't got it. It's not going to be in the list, but maybe at some point I will pick that up in 2020. But for now, I've got 16 albums. All these 16 albums I wanted to get hold of. I've got hold of them. And it's been an interesting year for music. I'd say my top 5 albums I absolutely love. Then you've got some middle ground. And then my bottom 2 albums I just dislike. So, we're going to get started. And of course, we are starting at the worst. So I am going to start off with the ones I dislike. And I am probably going to annoy a few people with a couple of these. Especially the one that's in last place. But, you know, the one thing that you guys have got to take away from this is just my opinion. This is, you know, everyone is welcome to their opinion. I am not here to say this is what's good and this is what's bad. I would never do that. This is just me saying this is what I thought was bad and this is what I thought was good. This is still my opinion. I welcome your guys' lists and opinions and comments in the comment section below, and I'd be very, very interested to see what albums you guys really enjoyed this year and what ones you didn't enjoy this year. So coming in last place, this is an album which isn't going to surprise some of you who have been paying attention to my channel. We briefly touched on this in one of my live chats, and I touched on it in a video a while back just after the release of it, because a few people were asking me what I thought of it or if I was going to review it. And last place is going to What's My Name, Ringo Starr. So yeah, people who come to my channel who maybe don't know yet that I'm a big Beatles fan are probably going, why on earth did you buy that? Why are you buying? Why waste your money on a new Ringo album? Well, I'm actually up to date on Ringo, and I didn't mind his last few albums. I liked Why Not from the late 2000s. I enjoyed 2012 from 2012. We had Postcards in Paradise, which was a bit wobbly. The last one was called Give More Love, and that one was okay, that one was fine. And I've never put a Ringo album last in a ranking. He's never come last. I've always found a couple albums that were worse. And I had hopes for this one. I thought, you know, this is going to be another, you know, okay Ringo album, I'm sure. I thought, you know, I like Ringo a lot. I've got a lot of respect for him. I think he gets a bit of a harsh time. I know he isn't anything amazing, but I still think he gets too much of a harsh time from some people. So I thought, you know, I'm going to pick it up. Hope this record's good. Hope it's as good as the last one. And I'm sorry, Beatle fans. I absolutely despise this record. I don't like a single track on it. The production is terrible on it. The vocals are not good. And the mixing is awful. I think if the production and the mixing weren't awful, this would be okay. I really do think that. I think it would be like Give More Love for me, where I'd be like, it's okay, these are fun, catchy Ringo songs again. Because they are. But the production and the mixing is so terrible that it isn't very enjoyable to listen to for me. And unfortunately, Ringo's vocals are starting to finally age up a bit. And, you know, Ringo has done such a good job all these years at keeping his vocals sounding fresh. This is the first time I'm starting to see his vocals dip because of age, which of course is not his fault. It's not a complaint. But he really tries to hide it, I think, with the production and the what they call it, the audio. I can't think of the word when artists. I can't think. I'm having a brain fart. You know, when they can't. You know, they auto dub over the top and their voices, you know, get a little bit. But yeah, a classic track on this album is the cover of Money. Not good at all. I'm sorry, Beatle people and Ringo fans. I like Ringo. I love the Beatles. And I always do try to stick up for Ringo. You know, his last few albums haven't been bad. I don't want to turn people off of giving Ringo a chance because, you know, he's not awful. But that album is. Okay, so there we go. Last place, Ringo Starr. What's my name? I forgot the name of it. Coming in at 15th is... I recently this year got into Sia, who I've got a couple of albums of hers on the way. I've been playing her Christmas album a lot lately. Of course, it's December. It's Christmas time. She had one album out this year. I picked it up. It's Sia in collaboration with Diplo and Labyrinth. I had to study Labyrinth in media, so I know him quite well. I'm not too familiar with Diplo. And the album is called LSD. Look at that title. Or cover even. Look at that. That's a funky looking cover. So yeah, I've always kind of liked Sia because while she's kind of popular and has that modern day production, she keeps to herself. And she keeps to her style, and it's really cool. I like her voice a lot. But this album just isn't good. It's not. Even her songs are not great. But, you know, of course, we've got Diplo there as well, who he's not great. I'm not a big fan. Labyrinth comes in every now and then and does a rap, which I just don't find enjoyable. You know me, I'm not a rap fan. The only song on here I like is Thunderclouds, which closes side 1. So there's one song on here I like. Other than that, this album's just not very good. So 15th, LSD. Okay, so from here on out, I do like these albums. They're the two bad ones out of the way. I would not recommend them albums to anyone. But from here on out, we're on to the good stuff. So this one here is really interesting because this is a local guy. Literally, he lives about 15 minutes away from me. It's really cool. I didn't see him, but there was a music festival in Hartford, and I believe he was playing there. And I was at this festival. I just didn't see him. It was literally about a couple weeks before I discovered him, which is a real shame because I would have gone and seen him. And I really recommend you guys go check him out because I think this guy has a lot of talent. And he deserves... Again, I know this album's very low on the list, but this is his first album. He's just a local guy. He's not a big singer yet. And it's out on vinyl, so go give it a try. It's on Amazon. It's like 10 quid. It's super cheap. He's going by the name 10 Tons. And I think it's a self-titled album. Yes, it is. Self-titled album. God, the sun has just come up. So, yeah, it's you know, it's just a really fun kind of rock album. It really reminds me of something out in the 90s. There's some really cool stuff on here. My favourite track on here is actually the opening track, Lucy. There's a song called Too Late, which I really... like as well. Nights In, Night Out is also a really good song. So yeah, again, not expecting many people to know this one, but go Spotify it at least. Give it a try. It's a good listen. Very easy, soft rock, and I like it. So that's 14. Coming in 13th is the first album I got this year. This came out in January. I kept forgetting this was a 2019 album actually, because when I kept pulling out my records to make sure my order was okay, I always forgot to pull this one out. But that is Reckless Heart by Joanne Shaw Taylor. Now Joanne Shaw Taylor, her last album, I'm pretty sure cracked my top 5, so this is a bit of a drop off. And I've heard all of Joanne Shaw Taylor's albums now but her first, just because it's so hard to get on vinyl. But this is the weakest one for me out of the ones I've heard. There's something about it. It just doesn't have the life that the other ones have. I think she went too bluesy here. And I love blues music. I mean, you guys know me. I've got like Clapton, J.J. Cale, B.B. King, all that kind of stuff in my collection. Robert Johnson. But this one, I don't know. I think she needs that fun melody in there to keep her songs alive a bit more. There's something about these songs that you get a little bit bored at times. But overall, there isn't a bad track on here, really. And there's some amazing guitar work. Amazing guitar work. And she's probably got my favourite voice of all the blues singers out there at the minute. Female blues singers that I've heard. There's a lot of potential there. It's a good album. It is just a little bit disappointing compared to the last ones. So I'm sure she'll have another album out soon. She's been very persistent lately. So I'm hoping for a better one next time. Okay. So where are we at? 16, 15, 14, 13. Number 12 is going to Lewis Capaldi. Yeah, I did pick this up. There was so many people talking about this. There were two artists which blew up this year, Lewis Capaldi and Vili Eilish, and I kind of almost felt I had to check them out. I kind of had a soft spot for Lewis Capaldi even before I heard his music, because I love his uncle, Peter Capaldi, 12th Doctor. So, just for that reason alone, I really wanted to check him out. And I checked it out, and you know what? I really like this album. It's really good at times. The opening track, Grace, is great. I love that song. And Somebody You Loved is also really good. I think the biggest track on here was... Oh no, it was Somebody You Loved. Sorry, I've got it mixed up. It's Hold Me While You Wait, the other one I really liked. Somebody You Loved is the really big song on here. I'm getting all mixed up. The A-side of this record is great. Really good. His voice is a bit droning. If you listen to this all in one go, it does become a bit of a struggle by the end, because his voice... It's a bit like Imagine Dragons for me, where the voice just goes on, and it drones on a bit. But anyway, the A-side is really good. I'm not going to knock the A-side. The B-side has a lot of filler on. It lets the album down, unfortunately. But overall, I like it. I like the A-side a lot, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does next. Hopefully he can come up with a really fresh album, because as I say, overall it's just a good album. I like a great album from him though. So coming in at number 11, this is going to shock a few people. It's shocking me as well that it's this low, but I literally just done a full review on it, so if you want to check out my in-depth thoughts on this one, go check it out. Jeff Lynne's ELO, the Electric Light Orchestra, from Out of Nowhere. This is in my top, they're in my top 5 bands ever, ELO. I love them. So as I say, I'm going to be brief on this one, because I did just completely review it. I really enjoy this album. It's really good. You could put any song from this album on and have a fun time with it. When you listen to this as a whole album though, every song kind of blends together, because of every song... Unfortunately, one of the downsides of Jeff doing every instrument here is every song does sound kind of similar. Even the faster ones to the slower ones, it all kind of gels together through the production and the style of playing, through the guitars and the drums. So it's a good album though, it really is. You could take any song from here and put them on and enjoy them. My favourite tracks on here are Going Out On Me, without a doubt. And probably the opening track from Out of Nowhere. And the album's got a really cool lenticular cover. So, well, hey. So yeah, I like it. It's a bit disappointing that I've had to put it that low, but that's just all the other albums above it I've just preferred this year. So, are we in the top 10 now? So 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. Here we go, number 10. Coming in at number 10 is going to be Girl by Maren Morris. Maren Morris is a new modern country American singer. I only discovered her this year. She had an album out last year called Hero. And this is her second album, Girl. She's also in a group as well, female country singers who released an album this year. But that's a little bit too country for me, that one. I did check it out. Didn't pick it up because, as I say, a little bit too country for me. But yeah, this is a good album. It really is. It's modern country. It's not over the top produced, where it's like sounds too modern for me. And she's got a nice voice, and I like that American country sound from time to time. I'm a huge Tom Petty fan, and I loved it when he slipped into that typical American country. I kind of liked it. This one is more produced than her first album, though. It does weaken a little bit compared to the first. However, there's a couple songs on here which I think are fantastic. All My Favourite People and A Song For Everything. And they come back to back on the album, so it's really nice. You get a nice little highlight there on the album. But overall, it's a good album. Really enjoyable. And would recommend giving it a check out on Spotify. Okay, so coming in at number 9. Again, one of the first albums I bought this year, and I kept forgetting to pull this one out as well. And funny enough, I bought their first album, which came out in 2017? 17 or 16. I bought it the year it came out, and I forgot to include it in my end of the year video. So I do find this band a little bit forgettable, but this album was a lot better than their first. And this album is called South of Reality, and it is by the Claypool Lennon Delirium. So yes, of course, Claypool, very famous bassist, amazing bassist, and Lennon, of course, for John Lennon's son, Sean Lennon. What a record. This album dips into everything. It's got a song that would sound just like an old Beatle record, or you've got a look from the late 60s, one of the psychedelic ones. You've got like a psychedelic type Who song on here, or a heavy Zeppelin song. You've got a song that sounds like Pink Floyd on here. They really just go back and do a real retro, late 60s, early 70s, album, psychedelic. And it dips in so many different genres, and it sounds fantastic at times. The album does weak at times. It has a couple slow moments where you do just think, okay, come on. But overall, I commend this album a lot because it's got a lot of balls for what it's doing. And it's got a lot of variety on it. It really does. And it's a very, very fun album at times. It is probably the most mixed album I have to show you, though, in terms of quality. Because sometimes it's at its peak, and sometimes it really dips. But because of the peaks, I've put it this high because I respect it a lot. So if that's number 9, that must mean this is number 8. Yep, that's right. So I just picked this one up the other day. This is brand new to me. Picked this up last week when I was in Tesco's. Tesco's, they have vinyl. Couldn't believe it. I walked in, saw this on vinyl, and was like, I shouldn't, but it's right here, so I will. I finally picked up The Who's new album. So this one here is this self-titled? I think it is self-titled. The Who. Who. I think it is just called Who. Very creative. So The Who haven't had an album in 13 years. And the fact that it took me a good week or so to pick this up, it took me longer than that. It took me about 3 weeks, actually. The fact that it took me that long to pick this record up just shows how good their last album was. Their last album, The Endless Wire, is one of the worst records I've ever heard. So I didn't pre-order this. I was like, I'm gonna wait, hear reviews, and then I'll get it. And the reviews were surprisingly positive, because the last few Who albums I haven't liked. So picked it up, brought it home, and as you can tell, I quite enjoyed it because it's this high on the list. It's a massive improvement. Roger Daltrey sounds so much better than he has on his later solo records, and he did on The Endless Wire. The band have regained a bit of a spark here, and they're putting out some really interesting songs. There's a lot of variety on this album. I can't tell you song by song, because as I say, I've only heard this album twice. I'm still very new to it. I haven't heard this one loads, so I can't tell you standout tracks. There was only one track on here I just didn't like, and that was the one that Pete Townsend sings, because that man should not be doing lead vocals anymore. As harsh as it sounds, I love Pete Townsend. I recommend... I acknowledge his talent in the songwriting, guitar playing, and whatnot. He is a very talented man, and he could sing, but today I think his voice is gone for lead singing, unfortunately. Sorry. But it's a good album. I enjoyed it. It surprised the hell out of me, and I'm pleased I got it. And I recommend other people give it a go. Okay, so what we at now? We're at numero 7. And this is an album which I was sure would crack my top 5, but well, it just didn't. Coldplay. This is Everyday Life. Yeah, I love Coldplay. I really do. And I was really excited for this one because they released a couple singles, and I thought Orphans was really fun. I forget what the other one was. I forget what the other track was they released, but it was a very creative, instrumental type piece. And I was like, you know what? I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it shows me that there's going to be some creative and more classic sounding Coldplay on this album, so I was really excited. And now this is a double album. The A-side is Sunrise and the B-side is Sunset. Sunrise is more classic Coldplay sounding, and Sunset is a modern Coldplay. I'm more of a fan of classic Coldplay. I grew up listening to things like Parachutes and Rush of Blood to the Head. They're the two albums that I really connect with. I also love Vida La Vida. And Ghost Stories. I love that sound of Coldplay. The modern stuff, while it's good, I don't dislike it. It doesn't wow me like the old Coldplay. But shockingly enough, with this album, I ended up enjoying the more modern sounding ones more. But I'd say on the A side, I love the opening track, Sunrise. I like Church as well. Daddy is really good. And And I think it's When I Need a Friend I also really enjoyed it. On the B-side, I really enjoyed nearly everything other than a couple. Orphans is good. Old Friends is nice. And I like the title track, Everyday Life. Bit disappointing from Coldplay. It potentially would get my spot if I was doing most disappointing albums this year. Maybe. It would be between this and ELO, because this and ELO I would love to have been in my top 5. I really would. But unfortunately they weren't. So, number 6, just missing out in the top 5. And I believe in 2017, this guy's debut album just missed out my top 5 as well and got number 6. Liam Gallagher. I didn't want this album to be good, because it was coming out the same day as Kina's new album, and I wanted Kina to be number 1. I didn't want it to be good. I didn't really want to enjoy it. I wasn't looking forward to it at all. I put it on and had a great time. This is a really good record. It's just slightly better than his first, I think. It's really enjoyable. I just wasn't expecting this to be that good. Shockwave is great. One of Us is good. The only track I don't like is Once. My favourite track on here is Now That I Found You. Halo's good. Be Still. All Right Now is really good. The River's great. Gone's good as well. I played this album a lot this year. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed this record. It's a blast. It really is. Right, top 5. Here we go. Very exciting stuff. I'm very happy with my top 5 albums this year. These top 5 albums I've just enjoyed the hell out of. And I've had a great time playing them over and over, although one of them is very new. That one I am playing over and over at the minute, so... Right, number 5 is going to War in My Mind by Beth Hart. Talk about blues singers. Here we go. Beth Hart, I've got to thank my friend in America, Vinyl Collector James, for getting me this and getting me into her. I mean, I was already kind of a fan because I have her records that she done with Joe Bonamassa, because she very much is the female Joe Bonamassa. She's not only got that similar style in terms of sound throughout the years, even to today, she's got that similar style in Worth Ethic, where I can't speak at the minute, where she's just pumping out stuff and it's great. She's got that same bluesy, real deep voice, which sounds fantastic. And everyone has just told me that this is like her Blues of Desperation, and it really is. This is a fantastic album. Look at that cover as well. What a cover. If I had to give an award out for best album cover this year, this hands down gets it. Fantastic. Just great stuff on there. There isn't a bad song on there. Again, if you like your blues, your modern blues, check it out. It's a fantastic record. Coming in at number 4, Hey. I can't believe I'm doing this. If you'd asked me this about even a few months ago, I would have said... this guy would not even crack my top 10. Yet, I went into his first album open-minded when I bought it the other month for the first time. And I loved it. And I managed to pick his new album up literally over the weekend just gone. And I went into this one open-minded as well. And I loved it. And I think a lot of people who visit my channel, if they listened to these and went into them open-minded, they'd really enjoy them as well. I got Fine Line at number 4 by Mr. Harry Styles. You know what? I'm not a One Direction fan. I don't like One Direction. And I've heard a lot of their stuff solo because my sister loved One Direction. And she listens to them solo. And the other 4 in their solo careers have carried on doing that same One Direction thing, where it's just overproduced, modern, crap chart music. And it's crap. One of their Christmas songs come on the radio this morning and it was terrible. I'm just not a fan of that modern chart sound where everything's really overproduced. But Harry, wow, this man has gone into the studio and tried to be unique, and he's got this amazing sound. Like, honestly, it's incredible. It's unique, and it's not overproduced. It's not whiny. It's just a good musician writing some good songs and making some good tunes. And it is a really, really good album. I love everything on here. Maybe the last track, Final Line, that's actually the weakest one for me, I think, on here. But my favourite tracks on here, hands down, is Treat People With Kindness, is hands down my favourite. I also love Watermelon Sugar. and Cinnamon Moon I also really love. This is a great album, guys. I know that some people are just not even going to bother trying, so I'm not going to go on and trying to convince you too much to check the album out. Because I know that people see someone from One Direction and they will refuse to even try it. But give Harry Styles a chance. He's absolutely fantastic. I think he's proven that enough now. He's had 2 albums which were really solid, really mature. And he's trying other things. He was a great actor in Dunkirk. I mean, the guy's proven himself to be a lot more than just Harry Styles from One Direction. Okay, so here we go. Top 3. Coming in at number 3 now. I mentioned this one earlier in the video. Again, I'm also shocked in myself that number 1, I bought this, and number 2, that I loved it as much. I got this literally around the same time as Lewis Capaldi. Vili Eilish, When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Boom, nailed that title. Now, this album, Billie Eilish and her brother made this in her brother's room. Like, literally. I think it was... I'm not a fan of this guy, but she's done a carpool karaoke literally this week with James Corden. And they go into her room where she recorded it. And she must have been recording it for a couple of years. And she was 17 when this album released. She literally turned 18 last week. That is some of the most creative and talented stuff I've ever heard of in an album. It's fantastic. This album is dark. It's creepy. It's even scary at times. And it's odd. But I love it. It's got a great sound to it. It is very bassy. And I know that a lot of modern stuff is bassy, but this doesn't sound modern. I don't know what it sounds like. It's its own thing. It's its own genre. Very bassy, and it just sounds fantastic. It's unique. And I just get a real kick out of playing this album. I really do. It's fantastic. There isn't a bad song on here. Again, my favourite tracks would be Bad Guy. All the Good Girls Go to Hell, Wish You Were Gay, When the Party's Over, Bury a Friend, I Love You. There's, again, this is a really, really enjoyable album. I'm sure some of you have heard the hits off that album over the last year, because they've been played to death. They were even played in clubs when I was out in Malia with my friends, and it was like, really? You're going to play this? But it's a great album. And it deserves to be this high for its creative and uniqueness. And I really enjoy it. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what she does next. Although I reckon it's going to be a while. Coming in at number 2. This is an album which, when it came out, I was a little bit disappointed. But it's grown on me a lot. I really wanted to put this at number 1. I really do. Biasness keeps hitting me. Put it at number 1, but I can't. Number 2 is going to Kina, Cause and Effect. Kina are my favourite modern band, without a doubt. I love them. They're absolutely fantastic. Or when I say modern, I mean newer band. Absolutely fantastic. I only just realised, literally the other day, that the cover is 2 people kissing here. You see the woman's head? You see the man's head there? I just thought they're all shapes, but I finally just made that out the other day. So when it came out, the 2 singles tricked me into thinking this was going to be really upbeat with Love Too Much and The Way I Feel. And it come out, and because this album is about the keyboardist's divorce, it's a pretty damn depressing album. All of a sudden it's just like, oh, okay. So for the first month it being out, I was like, it's good, I don't love it. Something clicked in me after that, like, I really started to get into it. You're Not Home is one of the best openers I've ever heard. I think it's beautiful. Radio On is fantastic. Strange Room, I think, is the weakest track on here, but when I saw Tom Chaplin, or when I saw King live, Tom Chaplin said it was his favourite track on the album. Go figure. Phases is good. Thread is amazing. Amazing. And Chase the Night Away is also really good. So, Keen, Cause and Effect, really good album. Really, really good. Keen, Continue to Not Let Me Down. Fantastic. I still think I deserve number 1 over Liam Gallagher, but there you go. Okay, so number 1. This is the album which absolutely blew my mind this year. I heard a couple of the songs by this artist on YouTube, funny enough. And I picked up her new album, this one, and her previous album. And I've just played the hell out of both of them this year. Literally, I've become a fan of hers about 4 months ago. I bought both her records. And I went to see her in concert. That's how quickly I got into her. I was like, she's amazing. I love every single song on both albums. Went to see her live. She's fantastic live. This artist has, blown my mind this year. And I'm so happy that I discovered her. And that is Aurora. And this is her second album, Different Kind of Human. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Because she's got an EP in the middle as well, which I also got. And I forget what that one goes by. Anyway, in a matter. Every song on here is great. I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't recommend Aurora enough. This is my signed copy, which I got when I went to go see her live at the Roundhouse. Absolutely incredible. So I'm not even going to read out songs. I'm just going to hold it up. Just go listen to them all. They're all fantastic. I really just love every song. This for me is hands down the best album that I've heard this year. It broke ground for me. I'd never heard anything like it. Her voice is so unique. Her style is so unique. And I just love everything that she's done so far. I think she's very talented, and I really hope more people discover her. She really does deserve it. But there we go. Poosh. Complete. We've done it. There it is, my worst to best list of my 2019 albums. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it as always. Just remember, this is my opinion. Don't take it too harsh, what I said at the end about poor Ringo, because I know that a lot of people who visit my channel are Beatles fans. I like Ringo a lot. He's really good. I didn't mind his last few albums. I just didn't connect with this one at all. But as I say, I welcome all your guys' comments below. Let me know what albums you guys really enjoyed this year. And that's it. That is it. We're nearly up in 2019. It's nearly 2020. Crazy. But that is it for this video, guys. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a message, and I'll see you guys next time for another video. Bye-bye.